All right. Uh, does anyone else have anything to share in terms of struggles or successes? I mean, no? That's good. Uh, oh, Sam, do you have anything to add in terms of successes?
Nope.
Okay. Uh, Suggestions. Some attempt to consolidate our JavaScript. So when we were adding in uh, the recent functionality for changing calendars, date and times, uh, we noticed what a mess the JavaScript really is, and there was suggestions recently in the Slack about switching to some kind of coherent framework like React or Ember. Uh, if anyone has any comments about that, they can talk in Slack about that. Experimenting with different premium offerings. So I think Sam has some idea that people would actually be willing to pay £100 per month to pair with him for like a couple hours a month, which I think is totally insane. But
Oh well.
Yeah, who want to do that? I love your comments. I love you, Michael. You're the best. So anyway, I have
and
an idea. I have an idea. I pitched that
okay,
to Sam, but I kind of I would like to expand on that. So you know, a lot of the course materials that we are producing for Craft Academy, everything we write is open sourced. And we are using the Open edX platform to deliver those courses. And I'm thinking perhaps we could brand some of them, or use the Craft Academy brand for that. But we could make some parts of our bootcamp, or repackage them in small courses and make them available to to AgileVentures
premium.
members for free as a self-paced education, kind of, without any coaching help, but just as a self-paced training.
It's
Uh,
totally free.
Totally free, yeah. Well, as a part of the package, basically, the £100 package.
Oh, okay, to get them to upsell. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a good idea or not.
But how would we control access to the content? Would
Well,
they be paying us
I
for
can
that?
I can make every course in Open edX. I can make every course by invitation only.
Oh, okay.
So we could probably automate some stuff, or it
Right.
would probably require some hands-on um, administration, but we could probably minimize that.
Okay. Well, that sounds good.
I don't know, any opinions on that, guys?
Sam, do you have an opinion on that?
Yeah, I think.
Well,
Uh,
stop.
sorry.
Alexa, set timer for 30 seconds.
Um, I think it's a really interesting idea. We need to explore, the different things that we put into the different bundles, the premium and the premium plus, and following on from the discussion with Thomas earlier, I'm planning to send out a survey that adds some of those ideas to see what the broader user group thinks.
Yeah, so one of the
Alexa,
things
stop.
that I think that Free Code Camp benefits from is that they have like a curriculum niche kind of thing, so perhaps we could add some value for our members to and just give them some learning experience or something. Perhaps they would benefit. But this is definitely something that we could add to the survey that you are planning to send out, Sam.
Cool.
Sounds good. Uh, Sam, did you want to add that to the suggestions for next week?
Yes.
And we had a suggestion to add the ability to choose a payment level. So this is the idea that someone would want to actually upgrade. And I think that's it, unless anyone else has suggestions other than Sam. No? All right. So Sam, do you have any suggestions that you want to add?
Just that you should run the meeting every week?
Okay. Well, you can write that in the suggestions box. Now we're going to do the kickoff, which, from what I understand, is waffle,
Yes.
right?
Yep.
I'm going to try to load that. I should probably be in Chrome and not in login with GitHub. Okay. All right. So we usually go through the stuff that's ready, right, Sam?
Yes. But we start with please check, and then we go to in progress, then we go to ready, and then we go to backlog.
All right. So please check pleasingly has 0 things in it. In progress. So we were refactoring the epic events. Working on the events today. This was like 3 months ago. Some idea that Sam had. And then 9 days ago he said that he took a stab at it. But it feels like to make progress, we need to represent the way the form, change the way the form is representing the event data, because it's kind of mungy. Does anyone have comments on that? No? Okay. Support the Premium Plus subscription. Support the ability to pay for Premium Plus to get pairing with an AV mentor. Okay, well, I think Sam had some kind of open pull request on this. Let me go to website 1. Yeah, right here, but it's failing. And there's things to deal with the cache. Is that a priority, Sam?
Yes. But if I can elaborate.
Are you blocked?
Yeah, there are some testing issues that we would have to resolve to release that using the current testing model. Although I guess I see it as almost, rather than forcing that issue, because there's a way of restructuring it so that we, for example, have payment for the different levels on 2 different pages. What I'm really hoping to get to is somewhere someone's saying, yeah, I really want to pay you for Premium Plus, and then that would push me to work more on that item.
Okay, so Sam wants to overcome his skepticism that someone would actually pay him.
Indeed.
Best approach for documenting DevOps. Staging, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so apparently this is like, what? Now we're testing and staging. Right. So Sam wants to actually put more settings in queues to make sure that they do something meaningful. Is that correct, Sam?
Yeah, try and make our documentation of the settings like
executable, right?
Executable.
Okay, that's great. Epic Premium membership. Signed up upgrade membership. Seems that. So this is related to what we just went over in the review So basically, we want to allow people to sign up for premium membership. That's been partially done, but we have this idea about Premium Plus, which Sam needs to overcome his skepticism on. Consolidated development process documentation. So this is where we need to put all that stuff that's in the wiki into the actual repo. So that people can carry it around with them. Do you have any other comments on that, Sam, as to why that's valuable?
It's mainly so that we have a review process on changes that are made. At the moment, with the stuff in the wiki.
Okay. Right. We can view it with the diffs and everything.
Right.
Smoothing the process of joining a pairing session for edX students and others. I think this has been going on forever. We just reviewed this actually. This is the whole events issue. Does anyone care that we go over this again? Flow for the events. Take that as a no. Consolidate all documentation around contributing.md. We have legacy documentation. Right. So this is more like project management from Sam about getting all this documentation, even about how to contribute under version control, so it can be reviewed instead of just people willy-nilly doing whatever they want. Investigate smoothing the onboard process. Basically, this is about our outdated scripts that everyone keeps running for some reason. They see a bash script and they think that's actually going to work, and then it's no, that doesn't work. And then they come and talk to us in Slack. And Sam says we also have docs which actually tell them to use the bash scripts, which are out of date. So if anyone wants to help out with that, that would be great. All right. Does anyone have any comments about any of these in-progress issues? No? Okay, good. Let's go to ready. So on this, Sam, this is where I advertise things that people can actually pick up to do right now.
Yes.
So right now, there's a ticket to accept Jira, Waffle, and links. So this is to website one. Let me log in. Take me to my now. Continue using. So basically, when we go into a project right now, like website one, there's a tracker over here, and if I were to edit this project, which I don't even know if I can I do that, Sam? Oh,
yeah.
Here it is, project actions. Edit project details. So if I put something in here that's not pivotal, it'll break.
Yes.
Basically. And the idea is that all these different people want to use different tracking systems that they're happy with for whatever reason, and we should just be providing a link to it rather than just saying no, you can't have that link at all. So if anyone wants to work on that, that would be great. And it's up for grabs, so it's potentially something that newcomers could take a stab at. All right. Make restrictions related to GitHub email more specific. Right. This is the issue with the public email address. And
Yeah, that's correct.
somebody, I think, from the MOOC tried to sign up and they got that message, and basically somewhere in the GitHub profile, where's that at in my GitHub profile? In here, edit my profile. So where is it at, Sam?
That's the right place actually.
Right here. This is it. Right here.
Email, yeah.
This saying public email here. Like the fact that it says that? Is that what their issue was?
So the thing is, by default, it says do not share my email, and when that's the case, you can't the auth gen can't grab the email address to use on the website. So that's why it fails.
Right. So the question is, how can we better serve the user by providing better instructions on how to fix that error? And that's up for grabs. Should that really be up for grabs, Sam?
Sam stepped away for a moment.
I suppose it should be up for grabs. Let's
Because
go
I mean,
on.
all we want to do in this case is just have maybe find a documentation that explains how to enable the public email address. Just point the user to that. That's ultimately what we want in this case.
Right. Okay.
Actually, I started working on the story today.
Is that Nitish who said that?
Yeah, that's Nitish.
So if anyone wants to work on that, you're encouraged to pair up with Nitish, maybe set a time after this hangout. Next, air brake not working. We were getting some errors related to the website that didn't show up in the GitHub issues, and they weren't in the console. And because it relates to air brake, which requires administrative input, that's not up for grabs, unless maybe you figure out how to pair with someone that actually has administrative input. Then you could probably work on it. Next, adding Hangout recordings to the site is a bit flaky. The Refugee Tech Project initiation meeting does not appear on the project page. I understand it can be a flaky anyway.
This one is no longer valid. It's fixed already.
What was the issue?
That some video was not showing in the videos tab on the page. That's a long time ago.
So was it an operator error, or was it a bug, or was it a UX bug?
Well, okay, so sorry for the background noise, but I'm at home with my kids. So the problem was that when let's see, when we started, it was the way we started the Hangout, basically, you know, that wasn't automatically assigned to the project. So I think that you guys fixed that because
now there's a category.
Yeah. So the problem was that we created an event and started the Hangout from the event, and that wasn't automatically assigned to a project. But I think that there was a pull request merged in recently that already fixes that problem. You know, what I did to fix that, I just manually entered the database and added that project number to that recording, you know, the event instance, and then it showed up in the tab. But since then, there is a different mechanism in place to assign event recordings to projects as well.
So Sam, should we close this issue?
I think what we do now is that we assign projects to events when we create the event itself. So I'm not sure if this was tested in this specific context, so I'm not sure if we should close it or not.
Okay. We might have issues with legacy events that aren't attached to projects.
I
Is
think we
that
could
what you're saying?
probably close it for the time being, and we can reopen it if it comes up again.
Okay. Can I actually close this? Edit? No?
I can close it in the background and make sure that you have access to do so in the future.
All right. The next thing, G+ sign up failure. Blah blah blah. Yeah. This is the same issue again. So these people tried to sign up with G+. This is actually the G+ issue. They got a bunch of errors. We're not really sure why. Is that correct, Sam?
It's no, in as much as it seems that it seems that if we look at the error message in detail, it seems that there's this like URL that's not approved as a callback URL, and it seems to be because I think some part of the Rails machinery is adding like the last place that you were in the website to the end of that, and that maybe screws things up. So I've put a partial fix into, add that in the, the G+ settings, but I don't know if it's a permanent one, and probably there needs to be some investigation of the way in which, like, it shouldn't be the case that those settings are being re-added to the callback. So, there's a temporary fix in there which may or may not have worked, and it probably needs more investigation, or simply just removing G+ from the system.
And it's labeled as requiring a min input.
Yeah, because you have to have access to the G+ panels.
So pair with someone that has that. Who has that? Me, you, Raul?
I think it's actually me and Thomas. Well, we can provide access to yourself and Raul if you don't have the right codes.
Okay. Do we need the channel tag for? So this is another issue. Do we need the @channel tag for every pairing in pairing notifications channel? But you get that with or without. This marks the new message more. Right. So this is about like how it comes across in Slack.
Yes.
Sorry. My screen just shrunk. And I noticed recently we added the @here tag to everything instead of @channel. Oh, well, here's an @channel. So do you want to explain this, Sam?
Sure. So the thing that we changed recently was that now when the scrums come into general, they have an @here tag when they had nothing previously. And in the first instance, we've stayed with @channel in the stand-up notifications. The original generation of this ticket was Mike DeLupas saying that being in the stand-up notification channel was kind of noisy. But I think that, to be honest, if the stand-up notification channel is noisy, don't go in the stand-up notifications channel. But maybe that's wrong. Anyway.
Okay, so now that we've added this tag, you also commented that you want to move the Slack code into Ruby, which seems a different issue.
Yeah, it is. I think we could close this one and some other issues. And I think if you want to close it, you can just drag it from the ready column into the done column.
Oh, really?
Yeah, drag from, yeah, there you
go. Okay. When event edit on existing event fails due to repeat end being blank, state about days is lost. Did I write that? I think I wrote that. I'm sorry. No, that was you.
I'm sorry then.
Oh, right. So it's violating Raskin's first law of HCI.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, you can see. Let me actually show you exactly what this is. Event, upcoming new event. So say I mark repeats, ends on never, right? And I have Tuesday and Wednesday. And I don't have a name, so it's going to fail. And I save it. The name can't be blank. But, wait, it is remembering Tuesday and Wednesday.
I wonder if we accidentally fixed it as a result of some of our recent changes. We did refactor some of the system here, didn't we?
So that's an up for grabs UX bug, and I guess
Yeah.
if it is, I guess the task now is to investigate whether it really is fixed, and if it is, maybe wrap it with some acceptance tests. Okay. So that's it in the ready column, and now we have the backlog. So this is voting, right?
Right. Well, you could be checking for, are there any unvoted things in the ready column?
Right.
Not that they have to be voted on necessarily, because some of them are bugs and chores, although we have new members telling us that it's helpful to have them voted on. And then reviewing the backlog would be dragging anything from the backlog into the ready column that we thought was appropriate, and possibly voting on it as well if we wanted to.
Okay, so we have the air brake not working bug, which requires admin input, so I don't think it's sensible to actually rate that, right?
Probably not.
Failure when trying to save auto grader client meeting notes. Right. So is this a new, because I feel like I didn't see this anyway. So when Sam was trying to grade the AutoGrader client, or change the client meeting notes on AutoGrader event last week, he got this long, horrible stack trace that everything broke, and he wants to know whether this was just a JavaScript failure in Hangout sending us some ill-formed request, and whether we need to handle that more gracefully on the server side rather than just completely crashing the entire app. Is that accurate?
Yeah.
So I guess we can have a little bit of discussion about this. Does anyone want to discuss this in more detail? Raul, Thomas, Sam, Nitish, Puneet? No, yes?
I'll just say that I think this could be a good, reasonable up for grabs thing. It, in principle, involves just checking for this, the formness of the incoming request. So, yeah, in principle, it could be a relatively simple starting feature for someone to work on.
Okay. All right. So we're going to vote now, 1, 2, or 3. 1 is if it's like a simple fix where perhaps you change the styling or the text on a page. 2 is intermediate. Maybe it has some functionality associated with it, some testing that really has to be done to make sure the logic is right. And 3 is kind of where you're totally introducing kind of a new feature, maybe a DB migration, a bunch of tests, a lot of logic. Is that accurate, Sam?
Yes.
So we're going to vote 1, 2, 3. Everybody enter their value right now. 3, 2, 1, go. All right, so Raul and I chose 2, so we're in the minority because Nitish, Puneet, and Sam voted 1. Raul, do you want to defend our position? Raul, you're muted if you care to.
Well, so I guess the reason for me putting it 2 is just because it might take some time to actually figure out what's causing the issue. Um, but besides that, I mean, figuring out what the issue is first is the one problem.
Right, so it might take some time to debug the issue and get a solid test in place. Sam, Puneet, or Nitish, do you have a rebuttal, or are you willing to go with 2, or are you insisting on 1? Sam?
I guess from look at the review that of the error message made it seem like it was a fairly straightforward thing. I think for a novice who's not so comfortable with writing, an acceptance test, I might be happy to concede to a 2 just because of the complexity of writing the right kind of sort of request spec acceptance test.
What about you, Puneet and Nitish?
Can be made to.
Nitish?
Yeah, we'll go with 2.
All right, so we'll go with 2. How do I actually?
There is the size there. You see the plus button there. You
go. Put a 2.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Let's see. We've got a few more stories, and it's almost 1 o'clock. So, is that about the time we usually start wrapping up, or?
Yeah.
Let's see. Bug error breaks. Bug UX. Yeah. So we have another bug up for grabs. No, I don't want to install crap. Might be tomorrow. Go away. When we edit the event on the existing event, it fails to repeat n being blank. State about days is lost. So we just went over this.
That's already voted on. It's got a size of 2.
All right. So I guess we're done with everything that's, and over there. So let's go to the backlog. Sam, what do you think is potentially worthwhile here?
I would say this 1074 that we just created and 1073, both of those 2 that we just created related to events are things that probably should be pulled in, relatively high up on the ready list to indicate their priority.
All right, so I guess we have time to vote on maybe 2 more issues. So we're going to indicate if the event is live. Right, so that's, for instance, on the project, or on this events page, sorry. If we go to the events page, where did the event go? I guess that's also an issue.
Yeah.
So on here, if this were an event that was live right now, only for a certain time after it goes live will it say live, and then after that point on this index page here, it will no longer say live. Though on the front page, for instance, it says we've been running this for 58 minutes. Well, actually, that goes away too. But for a long time on the front page, it says that this event is live.
I think it's 15 minutes. I think there are different times. It's like 15 minutes on the front page and like 3 minutes on the events page for some reason.
So we want to reconcile those differences? Or
Yeah,
let it stay live as long as it's live on the event page?
we need to work out the appropriate logic that makes for the best user experience.
Okay. So does anyone have questions about this event?
This about UX Plus.
Yes, so I have a question. So how do we determine whether an event is live or not? Are we going to do some server polling, or what's the deal?
I honestly don't know.
we had this
I mean, you
implemented
know more about the
upon a
events.
time.
Go on.
Yeah, so once upon a time we had this implemented where the connection, the website one connection app or whatever it's called, I think it's called something like that, was constantly talking to our server every 10 seconds or 30 seconds or something like that. But
And
that
it
put a
overloaded.
lot of strain on our servers.
Right. Does anyone else have comments about that?
Yeah, I think we've got the trade-off there between having some basic operation like the 15 minutes on the front page. That's it. But I think what happens on other events is that on the front page it will say something is live for 15 minutes from the start time, independently of whether the Hangout has actually been activated. I guess the Hangout has independently of whether it's been started to broadcast. I guess the Hangout has to connect back to the server before it says it's live. At least that's how it works for the item on the events page. I mean, I think probably in the first instance we just need to work out what it's actually doing currently, and making sure that is at least one consistent thing throughout the site. And
So
then
it would show 15 minutes on.
Yeah, on both of them. Yeah.
Or we could have something more complex, like when it ends the Hangout, it definitely sends the message. I don't know whether that's actually possible.
I think that's in principle possible.
Or and then there's some kind of default time in case it just totally messes up and doesn't connect.
Right. I mean, it would be an issue where I mean, you can break it out into different elements. So there's one is this simple level of just consolidating what we have, and there's also investigating these different levels of more complex fixes to better support.
So what are we voting on? Consolidating?
Probably that's the sensible thing to do there. Consolidating and investigating.
All right, so we would be voting on consolidating and investigating so that, for instance, the front page and the index page are consistent with each other. So do I have to explain the 1, 2, 3 again or no?
Don't think so.
So we're going to vote 1, 2, and 3. So get ready now. And enter your number of choice. 3, 2, 1, go. All right, so I'm the odd man out. I'll just concede. All right, so I'm going to make this a 2. Moving on. The next one. And this is the issue, possible problem with creating events in your time zone. Right. So I don't seem to get this issue, but apparently when Sam set the Kent Buck Scrum for 4:45 British Summer Time, or rather
Well, you can see it there, like it's
North London, there's an inconsistency that it then shows as 5:45 British Summer Time, right? Is that what it is, Sam?
yeah, right there. We've got that's me setting it to 3:45 p.m. with the Europe. If you scroll down ever so slightly
Right.
more, I mean, it's confusing because it's going from 12-hour to 24-hour
Wow.
clock. But here, so like
3:45, and here it's
5
going
p.m.
to
Europe
4.
London, but then when it's saved, it's actually treating it as if Europe London were a UTC. So it seems like it's not taking account of daylight savings there. But
Okay.
that had certainly, I thought that had worked when we tested it locally on my machine. So I'm a bit confused.
So, potentially investigating daylight savings time and writing some tests.
And that was
Does anyone have comments on that? Thomas, Raul, Nitish, Puneet, no? All right, so if we're ready, choose your number of choice, 3, 2, or 1. 3, 2, 1, go. Apparently, Puneet cannot decide. So, Sam, you're the odd man out.
Yeah, and I guess the reason I give it a 3 is because in creating this, what you and I found, Michael, is that we didn't seem to be able to write a full end-to-end acceptance test because of these problems with Capybara and setting time zones and so on. And so effectively we have bits of pieces of different tests in different parts of the system. So yeah, I would say I can imagine it being challenging to sort.
So, what he's saying is that basically, because Capybara is like some kind of native, it uses like some native browser implementation, it like believes that it's the time of whatever the time zone on your computer is, or it's UTC by default, and it's really hard to get Capybara to act any other way. Or at least we haven't found a way yet. So I'm willing to concede. What about you, Raul? Thomas? I guess Thomas didn't vote.
I can't vote because I'm on a cell phone, but I totally agree. I agree with Sam on this one.
What about Raul?
Same thing. It's fine.
And Puneet? I guess you didn't vote, right?
Yeah.
Nitish, what about you?
Yeah, 3 is good.
All right.
I would say as a tip here is I think that the poltergeist driver can do much more, but I'm not totally sure. But that would be worth exploring when testing.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'll just mark. All right. So I guess that's it, right?
Yeah, well, well done, Michael. Fantastic. I think we've had a really thorough review of the board.
We have time for a quick item.
What?
I just wanted to mention the coverage level on the project. So this week when I was merging a pull request, the coverage had dropped by 2 points. Is this something we should really care about or not?
I would say yes. That's surprising. I don't know. Do we not have the pull requests being blocked if the coverage drops, or is that not in play at the moment?
It flags it as a failure, but it's not entirely like a blocker. It was on the time zone issue thingy. So I figured, well, let's just go through. See the last red dot there, not this one.
No, and I guess we have it in the closed ones.
Have a look at the last one there, for instance. It's red because of that.
So yeah, the problem is, I think with the closed ones, we don't see the details of the.
Right.
You can click on the last red cross. You'll see the details.
Right, yeah, like here. Okay. Hmm.
The last commit on that pull request.
Ah, that's
Click the
that's
detail here.
yeah.
I thought you had made a change that fixed that. But
What's happened there? That seems like a. That seems like some. Well, when I see something like this in local support, that's usually because the tests have actually failed, and I have had this problem recently in local support where it says that the build has passed, but actually some of the tests have failed. I don't know if that's the same in here. No, that's very strange.
Everything that passed, yeah.
That's
Everything
very
passed.
strange because the things that it's like they're the events controller, and that's saying like we haven't got. There's no test of the show operation. That seems very strange, unless this is related to a deletion of the events controller spec, and we're not measuring coverage based on the feature tests.
Yeah, perhaps that's the issue. Yeah.
Right, because these are being exercised by the feature tests.
okay, so
And I see you previously tried to merge both the cucumbers and the RSpec test before, and you didn't quite succeed. So.
Okay, so I think we've got a chore there, which is to investigate how the coverage stats are currently being calculated.
So I was able to do that on one project this week, so maybe I can take a look at that. So.
Thanks, Raul. And it looks like our air brake errors are coming back in again, which is interesting.
all right, so I suppose that's it for the meeting, unless anyone else has any more business. All right.
Yeah, I just want to say, Michael, thanks. Fantastic job running the meeting.
Absolutely.
I've never been in a meeting with Sam where he talks so little.
I'm always trying to evolve.
At the beginning, I thought that you, Michael, put him on some sort of a, restrainer, or just you have a limit of minutes you can speak in the meeting or something, because he was so quiet.
Well, this was the suggestion from last week, Thomas, that we talked about. It's like the agile process reflecting and having other people run the meeting and me saying much less, which
lovely.
we will have to evolve. I just wanted to welcome Brahim. I hope that was interesting for you. If you're interested in getting involved in the Website One project, feel free to ask questions. I know you're having trouble with your audio, but do reach out in the Slack. Nitish, fantastic to have you involved this week. And I guess it's getting late for me, so I'd probably wrap up.
Did everyone understand my explanations, or?
Yes, it was clear.
Yes.
That was okay.
You did a great job, Michael.
Because honestly, when I hold these meetings, I feel like I'm not coherent.
It seems
I think that's just inside my head.
Probably.
I would what am I going to say? And
Definitely.
you came across as very coherent and understandable. The meeting, ironically, was no shorter, but I think we probably got more done and we covered the board better than when I do it. So I think it's good.
Right. All right. Well, unfortunately, I couldn't shrink the size of the meeting, so there's always next week, I suppose, unless someone else wants to run it.
I will see if we can keep it shorter when I run.
I think
competition.
You could. Well, that could be a new. You could get like stars on your AgileVentures profiles for shortness of meeting running. I think with your really thorough coverage of the items, we've managed to close things out, and I think it will lead to the meeting being shorter in future. Michael, well done.
All right. So.
Well, great stuff. I would say, guys, have a fantastic weekend, and catch you on Monday.
All right.
Cheers, Sam.
Have a
Cheers,
great
everyone.
weekend, guys. Bye.
I'll be coming to London on Monday,
Bye, guys.
Sam. So
Well, you're arriving on Monday, Thomas. Yeah,
Yeah.
right. So you're here for from Monday to Thursday.
yeah, that's right.
Okay, yeah. And so like you're gonna be bouncing around. It's basically you're going to be seeing the sites in central London.
Yeah, basically, and I need to have a few hours each day with fairly good internet connection because I have a company to run. So but other than that, I'm all free. So if you have a spare moment, just come into London and then we can have a coffee or something.
That would be good. That would be good. Yes, I will need to think about. I think I have no fixed points next week apart from Charles wanting to have lots of.
Yeah, so let's meet up at that particular moment when you're supposed to meet Charles. You can always use me as an excuse.
That might be a way to go. Good stuff. Yes, I will come back to you on Monday with a plan.
No problem.
Okay, good stuff.
Oh, Thomas, how are you with getting back into Project Unify?
Mentally, I'm in the process of getting back, but in practical terms, I haven't made any progress yet. But hopefully, I'll be next week perhaps when I have some spare time because of my trip. I might do something. I met up with some of the stakeholders this week, but we just briefly touched upon this. We didn't make any decisions or anything, unfortunately.
Okay. Well, when you want to move forward, I guess you could ping me.
Absolutely.
See if we can coordinate a time to pair a little bit.
Sure thing. So my next challenge is that I need to get to know Protractor a little better. The testing framework, the
right
for Angular. So I'm going to be working on that a little bit. So I'll definitely ping you and we can pair program on that.
All right, sounds good. I've messed around with Protractor a little bit, but I don't.
So did I.
Yeah.
But not nearly enough, basically, at the moment. But
yeah.
Cool beans. All right, guys.
Bye.
Live long and prosper.
Oh! Before everyone leaves, I just wanted to highlight Sam's idea of a AgileVentures gaming event.
Oh yeah,
great initiative, Sam. I was about to compliment you on that. Good stuff.
Yeah, what online games do people play? And just feel free to put it in the tip. But Lord of the Rings Online is the kind of most convivial kind of group, with voice where you can wander around and chat. But what are other people like?
First-person shooting is what I play. So I don't know how it can be correlated with agile process, but yeah.
Oh well, it's more like to have it doesn't have to be related to the agile process. I mean, that would be one thing, approaching, okay, so let's have a retrospective on how this first-person shooter went. But I think what's the word?
Community building.
Yeah, it's just we were always spend all this time in meetings and we don't get to do the things that other community groups do, which is go and spend time doing something that's not related to the project, so to speak, and just hang out. So if you've got what first-person shooters do you play, Pretty?
Call of Duty and Counter-Strike.
Right. Cool.
I have Counter-Strike. I haven't really played. Is that global offensive?
No, I think I used to play 1.6. I think.
Okay. I don't play COD.
COD is very technical compared to Counter-Strike. A lot of technical stuff.
I kind of enjoyed Call of Duty 2 back in the day, but the more recent ones, like the modern weapons things, don't leave me kind of cold.
I played Battlefield 4 the other day, and it was pretty intense, actually.
Oh yeah.
Oh, Battlefield is awesome. It's like realistic wartime stuff.
It's very intense. It's like I'm gonna get PTSD.
You guys make me feel old.
Yeah.
I stopped playing games when Doom was around, So.
Well, they got a new release of that actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, so you guys are playing on console. So I have a like games PC on my desk here as well, which got like
I have
virtually.
Steam. Yeah,
Yeah,
I have
it's
Steam. I have a
Steam, right?
Windows.
Oh, so can you get like Battlefield 4 through Steam then?
No, you can get it through Origin.
Oh, okay, but the games you will play on your PC.
Yeah, I don't have any.
You don't have like a box console. So is that same for you, Puneet? You play on PC?
Yes, PC. I use PC. I think 6 months back, by mistake, I wiped out my whole PC with when I was trying to install dual boot Ubuntu. So since then, that's the case. I haven't played anything since last 6 months. So
Oh, okay.
yeah,
We'd have
but
to get set up.
yeah,
Yeah.
but
All right, so
There's a first-person shooter. Is it called is it Battlefield? I don't know. There's one. It's got like it's not like ultra realistic. It's like kind of a bit more cartoony. I played it with some of my students.
Team Fortress 2.
Oh, that might be it. Yeah.
It's free on Steam.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a newer one that's called Overwatch that's getting a lot of hype. It's cartoony.
I'm gonna drop out now, guys. Take it easy.
Yes,
All right,
take it
bye.
easy. Bye for
Bye.
now.
Bye.
Great weekend.
sure. Bye, Thomas.
Good. What was that new one you were saying there, Michael?
It's called Overwatch.
Overwatch, also from Steam.
It just like came out like last week.
Yeah. Is that on
Sam, perhaps do you want to write those names in Slack? Because once we get
Oh,
out,
I will do. I will do. Yeah.
I also play GTA Online sometimes,
Oh, okay.
but I'm not sure whether people want to
Go into that world.
involve with that. It's kind of an asshole-ish community. Like basically, if anyone comes near you, you're pretty much advised to blow them the fuck up.
Right. Back in the day, I used to do quite a lot of stuff in Second Life. It's kind of interesting back in the day. It's what much more of a building community.
I think 3 to 4 years back, I played this game Half-Life 2 multiplayer, and that was really fun.
Oh yeah. I like Half-Life.
Well, do you play anything?
And it's easy to run it on. It doesn't need much higher config like a medium level RAM or graphics card should do fine for that. And it has a lot of funny stuff like if you're out of ammo, you can just take out your the stick which gives shock on hitting someone, and you can just really beat the guy in front of you. So yeah, that's one of it.
Also, like strategy games, if anyone's into them.
Yeah, what's that? Is it League of Legends? Is that famous?
I don't like that.
No, I'm not such a big fan of it. What was the other one?
Age of Empires?
I've heard of that. I've never played it. There's another one that's like set in the future, and you're like build. What was it? It was Warcraft. What was the science fiction version of Warcraft? Starcraft, is it called?
Starcraft.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got Starcraft. That was kind of cool.
There's like all the Total Wars. There's some, if you like historical like grand strategy, like rather than worrying about the details of like logistics on the battlefield, you worry about you're more like a leader. You're like, oh, take this province, take these troops, take that general, and take this province. There's like Europa Universalis 4, and but to play those games, you probably have to like history. So
I kind of like it. I really like historical ones. I always used to play Civilization back in the day. I think historical ones with the ability to develop new things are kind of cool. Anyway, I should probably get on. My sons have got a football tournament tomorrow, which I've got to get up very
All
early
right.
to take them to. I'll put all of these into all the suggestions into the random channel, and we'll see where we get to. All right. Bye.
Sure.
Have a great weekend, guys. Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye.
Definitely. Bye, bye.